Hey everybody, Ham and Fred here in the front room again with a little bit of a demonstration. Being under the weather for the past couple of months has given me the chance to really tune into and enjoy a lot of the videos that you guys are doing, especially when it comes to gear and your preparations for what we are now in the spring and summer. And there's been a lot of discussion about axes and grips and the proper way that you all use. I'm going to actually move Fred out of the way because he's going to be in the way. I know you want to be here, but we're going to move you over here. Okay. So we've been talking about axes and grips and keeping traction on your axe handle as you're using it. And one thing I've seen, which I really like, and again this has been pioneered by my good friend Gavco, has been, and a lot of others, is the use of the synthetic handle axes that are coming out from places like SOG and United Cutlery and some other manufacturers. Cold Steel. I, for one, have been using a Cold Steel Trailhawk for a long time if I don't have my primary when I'm light packing, which is the little Gerber backpacks, and we'll do a video on that later. But here's the thing first. I want to show you what I've done as a grip, which I've seen addressed, and it's just an idea I haven't seen out there yet for your information. First of all, let me tell you where I'm coming from. One of the many bizarre hobbies that I have is I am, I guess, a very amateur rabologist, R-A-B-O-L-O-G-I-S-T. Believe it or not, they actually have a word for someone who does what I do, which is I collect walking sticks. Because of my, actually even beforehand, I do a lot of walking. I try to walk between 2 and 3 miles every day. And because of previous back injuries, I use a walking stick, a cane, whatever I can, even when I'm on the road. And over the course of time, I have developed, and these are just some of them, I can probably edit in some pictures, but I have over 40 of them. Anyway, this is one of my canes. It's just a natural pine walking stick. But this is something I've learned to do. This is using 550 Paracord, and it's just a simple round wrap with a twist that creates a natural grip for you to use as you're walking. And it's very effective. And what I've done is I've taken this very simple to do grip and used it on my axe handles, both the wooden ones and the synthetic ones. Let me show you. This is my United Cutlery M48 axe. It's another one of the short throws, and like a lot of you have done, I've wrapped it in paracord. And you can see I've done the circular wrap, and that makes for a very good, very solid grip. Now, one thing that people have said is the fact that, I wrap paracord on this and it slips. Well, if you've looked at some other of my videos, you also know I'm a big fan of using old bicycle inner tube to wrap a handle on a knife, a girlfriend, whatever. But and this is only one solution. I like the solution shown by Gavco with his modified SOG, where he took a Dremel tool and shaved down the surface to give it an extraordinary grip. That is an excellent idea. And unfortunately, I'd already done this, so gee whiz, Mike. But yeah, there would be slippage on these synthetic handles, and somewhat to a wooden handle too. But this wrap eliminates a lot of that slip because of the tension that goes on it. And it's very simple to do. But anyway, what I've done is, if you can see down here, I've taken a piece of inner tube and laid that over the handle first before I did the wrap. And what that does is, that is locked in. It's not moving. And then to cover the tip, I just put another Ranger band up here. And you can put one down here as well. But it gives you an extraordinarily comfortable grip. Again, for my size hands. It may not work for yours if you've got smaller, slimmer hands, or if you want to just maintain the slimness of the handle, but that works very, very well for me. It doesn't add any perceivable weight to the axe, and when striking, it's very, very comfortable to use. And even if your hands are sweaty a little bit from the heat, humidity, that cloth paracord soaks it up and gives you a very good, very secure grip. And the rubber underneath acts as a tension guard that allows it to maintain its shape without slipping in your hand, especially when striking. So, how do we do this? This is a very, very simple process. And it was shown to me by another YouTuber, TyingItAllTogether. If you do paracord like I do, you found his channel. He does this simple staff wrap, and I will put the link to it below in the comments. But it's applicable in all kinds of situations. All my walking sticks, my canes, the axe handles, other things where I need a good positive grip. Simple little bit of 550 paracord. Let's show you how we do it. We're going to take a spare handle for one of my, I got this from Cold Steel. This is their spare handle. This is for my Trailhawk. I was thinking of cutting it back a little bit, but I also didn't know if I wanted to maintain the right length. But anyway, this is the spare handle. There's the head end and, of course, the grip end. Now, one thing I will tell you is, with this wrap, as you're going around and making loops and pulling it tight, there is a tension to twist up the loose paracord. So you always want to go down towards the short end of the staff. Whatever you, if you're not doing the full staff, and you can, there's nothing wrong with it. You want to pick the end that's going to be the part that you want the handle on, and lay off towards the short end. In other words, instead of starting at the end and working your way down, you would start at the upper part of where you want the grip and work your way back to where you want it to end. And you would loop off this way, because you're going to be looping around the end of the handle. And if you're going down the long length, this will tend to make more and more tension on the cord, and as you go around, and also you may find yourself running out of a length. Now, how do you know how much paracord to use? I use spare pieces. If I have to pull some off a loom, I usually go for 2 extended arm lengths. Now, I'm 6'4", and they say a man's outstretched arms is roughly his height, so that's about 12 feet. If you got too much, now I don't do whole staffs, I just do grips. So that's more than enough. And whatever's left, I've got a nice piece that I can use for something else, a bracelet, another wrap, some other application. But I'll use that as well. So I've got some leftover paracord from another project, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten this out and show you how we do it. Now, this is about 12 feet. And what I'm going to do is we're going to put a handle on this end of the staff. So we're going to start and loop off that way. And it's very, very simple to do. The first thing that starts this off is a very simple knot called a clove hitch. All right? And to do the clove hitch, you simply loop it around. Okay? This is very weird doing it upside down. So, I'll apologize. Now, you've got the X. Then what you do is you loop it around again. And then, taking the part that originally went around, you pull that up, stick the paracord through, and tie it off. And there's your clove hitch. Now, the secret about doing these is the fact that tension is the key. You've got to keep this tight. And also, you've got to be ready to tighten this up and keep it tight every loop you make. So I'm going to actually rotate this around 180 degrees, because I'm going to be coming off this end. Alright? Now, you can leave this hanging, because I'll show you a little trick I do with these. Some people, because these can be slippery, especially wooden ones, will go ahead and put a simple half knot right there and maintain the tension against it. But I tend to leave that free because we're going to use that later. So now, we've got our clove hitch. and it's nice and tight all the way around, and that's key. Now what we do is we take the paracord and we do a reverse loop. Okay, see how we did that? A reverse loop, and we put it over the end of the staff. Then we bring it up, and again, tension is the key. You've got to make this very tight, otherwise it doesn't work. And you've also got to make sure that you keep it compressed together, because it will tend to splay out on you. Now, a little bit of splay is okay in the beginning, but you want to keep it tight. Now, you notice, as we did the crossover, even from the original clove hitch, it started the ridge. Okay, that ridge is important. That's what gives you your grip. Now again, you just continue to make the reverse loops over the end of the staff or the handle, and you keep pulling it tight, making sure that it's gathered up tightly together, and you continue 2, 3, 4, 1,000 times. But eventually you'll get down to the point you want, and you can see where it's developing that ridge, and you will rotate as you go around, keeping the tie point up. So as you do these loops, you will be rotating the handle. And again, when you go to Tying It All Together's channel and you go for the staff wrap with that link, you'll see how he does it. I've learned so much from that guy. I hope I get to meet him one of these days. He's just a really interesting person. But anyway, you keep on doing this, and you see how that gets kinked up. Every once in a while you have to stop and straighten your line out. Now you can use a shorter piece of line once you start getting the wrap together, and you decide how far down you're going. But you keep on doing it, okay? And you keep on tightening, keeping it very tight as you do the wrap, and you see how that comes out. Every once in a while you need to go up and do the clove hitch again just to keep the top part, but that's not as critical as this. But you see how the ridge is forming, and that will continue around on top of the wrap, and that gives you your grip. Then when you reach the end, measure off about the same distance, and you can bring this down, bring the other part up, and do a simple double knot and tie that off, and what you've got is a little grip loop or a clip loop that you can clip knives, compasses, whatever else you want to on the end if you're doing a staff. Now for an axe handle or another type of utility handle, of course you're not going to use that, but that doesn't get in your way while you're gripping. Okay? If you don't want to do this, that's fine. Just do your half knot there, tighten it off, okay? And then the same thing at the other end. You can tuck it and burn it however you finish a paracord. But you do the length of the handle you want, maintaining this, and you form that loop. Okay, and that's what gives you the grip. And what you end up with, again, is something like this. Now, the reason there's a bigger space there is because this is actually a splice wrap. I ran out of paracord, the first piece I used, and I wanted to go down a little further, so I simply got another piece and tied them together. Okay, and made my handle that way, and that doesn't get in the way. But that gives you a very good grip on that handle. It's very, very simple to do. So that's what I do to maintain the control on my axe handles, things like my walking sticks. You can see how that there, and there's that clip little length there. It ties them both together, maintains your tension. But you see how you maintain the tightness of that wrap, and that vertical tie point as it spirals around gives you a very nice natural grip to control your staff. Now you don't have to make it out of paracord either. Now here's the staff I usually travel with. This is Seamus. He's a piece of briar. And guess where I got it? Ireland. Now this is a heavier gauge rope, but again I did the same wrap. And I've got a good grip there. Now Seamus is a lot thicker, which is why he makes an excellent walking companion when I'm on the road. And then there's just a little paracord loop I put down there in the bottom. But again, this one, I kept the lines open and just used a pressure connector to hold the two lines together. But Seamus does very well, and he's a very old and dear friend of mine. But that's another way to do the wrap. But anyway, there you go. That's how we do an axe handle wrap, or I do an axe handle wrap. And I think if you try this, either with or without the rubber underlay, depending on your material. It's another answer. It's not the answer, but it's another answer to getting a good grip on your tool before you use it in the field. Check out Gavco's channel. Check out the modifications he did on his SOG, besides what he did on the blade. His solution for the handle grip is very, very good, and I would suggest looking at that very carefully too, because that gives you a thinner diameter answer. If your hands are a little bigger and you want to try this, that's fine. But axe handles are only one thing. Canes, walking sticks, anything that has something where you want to grip and you can wrap with a paracord, you can do one of these simple spiral wraps on. Okay? There we go. Y'all have a great day. Thanks.